Most people don't suffer because life is hard. They suffer because they are too available, too emotional, too forgiving, too desperate to be loved. And the world notices that instantly. The moment people sense you fear loneliness, they stop respecting you. Seneca once warned, "He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a living man." But today, people don't fear death anymore. They fear rejection, silence, being ignored, being left unread. And that fear has made them weak. This is not motivation. This is the Seneca Mode. There is a dark truth nobody tells you. The more emotional you become, the more controllable you are. People can manipulate anger. They can manipulate guilt. They can manipulate your need for validation. But they struggle to manipulate someone who has mastered restraint. That is why calm people intimidate others, because calmness hides power. Modern people think self-respect means feeling confident. No, self-respect is refusing to beg for what should be freely given. Attention, loyalty, love, basic human decency. The moment you chase these things, you lower your value. And the tragic part? Most people destroy themselves trying to be accepted by people who were never worth impressing. Seneca understood something terrifying about human nature. People test your boundaries before they respect you, not because they are evil, but because human beings instinctively search for weakness. That's why the world keeps pressuring kind people. Because kindness without boundaries looks like submission. And submission invites exploitation. The world romanticizes kindness. But there are two types of kindness. One comes from strength. The other comes from fear. Fear of conflict. Fear of abandonment. Fear of being hated. And most people confuse the second one for virtue. They say yes when they mean no. They tolerate disrespect to keep peace. They stay loyal to people destroying them. That is not kindness. That is self-betrayal. Seneca believed that a wise person should be compassionate, but never weak, because weak kindness attracts predators. Dark psychology teaches this clearly. People rarely value what they didn't earn. The more you sacrifice yourself for someone who gives nothing back, the less they respect you. Why? Because your desperation silently communicates, "I will abandon myself just to keep you." And once someone realizes that, they stop fearing your absence. That is the death of respect. Most people think power is money. Wrong. The real power is self-control. Can you remain silent when disrespected instead of reacting emotionally? Can you walk away from temporary pleasure? Can you stay disciplined when nobody is watching? That is power. Seneca warned that people suffer more in imagination than in reality. Think about modern life. People are addicted to distraction because silence forces them to confront themselves. Notifications, entertainment, validation, endless scrolling. All of it is escape. Because discipline requires facing uncomfortable truths, that you are wasting time, that you are avoiding responsibility, that you are becoming mentally soft. And soft minds cannot survive hard realities. The frightening thing is this: every uncontrolled habit slowly destroys self-respect. Every promise you break to yourself weakens your identity. You tell yourself you'll wake up early. You don't. You say you'll stop chasing toxic people. You fail again. Eventually, your mind stops trusting you. And once a man loses trust in himself, he becomes internally divided. That is why disciplined people move differently. Their mind and actions are aligned. And alignment creates dangerous levels of confidence. Relationships expose people more than words ever will. Watch carefully. When you are useful, people call you important. When you stop providing value, many disappear. Painful truth? Some people love access to you more than they love you. Seneca constantly warned against emotional dependency, because dependency creates invisible chains. The person who emotionally needs the other the most always loses power. That's why emotionally detached people often dominate relationships, not because they love deeper, but because they can survive loss better. Dark psychology reveals something uncomfortable. People subconsciously respect those willing to walk away, because walking away signals self-worth, and self-worth is rare. This does not mean becoming cold. It means understanding this. Attachment without standards becomes slavery. Never let loneliness convince you to tolerate disrespect. Many people stay in toxic relationships because they fear emptiness. But emptiness is temporary. Self-betrayal becomes permanent. And the most dangerous relationships are not always abusive. Sometimes they are simply draining. People who constantly need your energy, your reassurance, your attention, until nothing remains of you. Seneca believed peace of mind was priceless. So protect your inner peace aggressively. Not everyone deserves access to your mind. Weak people constantly explain themselves. Powerful people observe. There is immense psychological power in silence. Silence reveals truth. When you stop talking, people expose themselves, their intentions, their insecurities, their manipulation. Most arguments continue because emotions demand reaction. But reaction gives others control over your state of mind. Seneca mastered emotional restraint because he understood something most people never learn. Your emotions are contagious. An angry person spreads chaos. A calm person controls the atmosphere. That is why emotional discipline intimidates unstable people. They expect reactions. They prepare for conflict. But calmness ruins their strategy. Silence forces people to confront themselves. And many people cannot survive that confrontation. The Seneca Mode is not about becoming emotionless. It is about becoming untouchable internally. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop explaining your worth to blind people. You become disciplined enough to endure discomfort, wise enough to protect your peace, and dangerous enough to walk away when necessary. Because the truth is, life becomes darker when you finally understand human nature. You realize some people only love convenience. Some friendships are temporary transactions. Some relationships survive only because of tolerance for disrespect. But instead of becoming bitter, you become selective. That is maturity. Seneca taught that external chaos is unavoidable, but internal chaos is a choice. And in a world addicted to emotional impulses, the calm, disciplined person becomes rare. Rare people become powerful. One day you realize something terrifying. Nobody is coming to save you. Not society, not relationships, not motivation. Only your discipline remains when emotions collapse. Only your self-respect protects you from humiliation. Only your mind determines whether suffering destroys you or sharpens you. So become dangerous in silence, kind, but not weak, loving, but not desperate, disciplined, but not emotionless. And remember this from Seneca. Sometimes, even to live is an act of courage. Because in this world, maintaining your soul may be the hardest battle of all. Master yourself before the world masters you. Subscribe to the Seneca Mode for more dark wisdom on human nature, discipline, power, and stoicism.